This thing? Ah, there we go. Hey, nice mango cap. Appreciate. I got one of those for 18 bucks. Never selling it. So yeah, I mean, for those of you who've been sitting here for the past 20 minutes, I think you know who I am. So this here, by the way, in this presentation, I basically have used almost all of the NFTs that I own to make this fun and interesting, and we're just going to go on a sort of a little, I don't know, vision quest through some fun war stories that Bartosz and I have. Then we're going to visit the tools that Metaplex currently has, and then we're going to talk about the tools that Metaplex will later have. This here is the first NFT ever minted on Solana, according to the Metaplex standard. It's us standing in front of our former employer, thanking God for pit vipers and crypto. So this is going to be fun. And this doesn't work. Oh, it does work. All right, so origin story for Metaplex is it was a bit rough and tumble. I want to give a shout out to the OG crew. These were the people, Steven, Bartosz, Austin, and Akil. We were in the trenches back in, I don't know, May, April, building this stuff. Metaplex, very few know this, but like the original sort of Metaplex contracts, a token metadata contract, it was built in 2 weeks. And I actually built it in my second 2 weeks at Solana. All the Metaplex contracts are the first contracts I've ever deployed to mainnet. And we had to do it in like a 6-week period. So with Solana, we were originally focusing on DeFi. Because it's fast, it's great, it's very easy to do, but at the beginning of the year, NFTs didn't look like the strongest play, but we quickly realized that they were. And so Raj and Toli realized we need an NFT platform, and so Bartosz and I were given 6 weeks to build this. We had to have it launched by Bitcoin Miami. It was a fun 6 weeks. Come on. I feel like this thing doesn't work. Oh, it does work. It's just very slow. So, after we got through Bitcoin Miami, and I think I deployed like 3 auction websites at 3 a.m. In Bitcoin Miami, things started like moving along, right? Like, we had a few hundred NFTs here, a few hundred NFTs there, but people were mostly just creating NFTs on like one-of-ones on Metaplex. The idea of a mega drop had not happened yet. There was the Solana monkey business. They used a wallet where they would accept funds and you had to just trust them to send you an NFT later. Turned out to be a great investment. And there were the Solarians who had built their own off-chain minting contract at that point, but nothing serious yet. The first serious 10K drop post Metaplex were these apes. And I first saw them, they first appeared randomly on my Twitter feed, and I thought, oh, these guys look funky. And then I found it was a Solana NFT project, and I kept hearing from people that these were going to be like, a huge deal, and they had like the first real ironclad minting solution. And so I was quite excited for this, but I completely forgot about the mint. And so one day, it was a Friday, at 11 p.m., I got a call from Raj, and so did Bartosz, and we had just finished a 16-hour day, and he was like, yeah, these guys, they tried to mint, they minted like 800 of these things, half of them are blank, and they basically shut down and are preparing to just fold up, and you have to fix this problem. And so, yeah, we airdropped in. And this was sort of the beginning of something new, and this is taking way too long to switch. I don't know what to... Hold on. Can I just use the keyboard? Yeah, let's use the keyboard. All right. Anyway, so with the airdrop, we basically discovered that the ironclad minting solution was not ironclad. It was not safe. It produced a lot of duplicates. Oh, okay, I got a new one. And yeah, it just didn't work. So what Bartosz and I did was we literally knocked over every piece of code. It was midnight at this point. We deleted everything. And just kept the website because the website's awesome. Monolith designed a great website. And we built an entirely new thing. And This is not working again. So what we built for the degenerate apes was the first candy machine. We didn't know it at the time, but we had to figure out in 12 hours how to save a drop without ever having done anything like this before. I mean, I had minted, tens of NFTs. The idea of minting 10,000 was crazy. So the first candy machine wasn't even called a candy machine. We were just trying to get this thing going. What we actually did was we used a bunch of GCP stuff. We used a minting Lambda function, which I think they call it a cloud function, hooked up to a Redis. And so the Redis, you would pay in Sol and produce a receipt transaction, and then you would send that receipt transaction up to the Google Cloud function, and it would be stored in the Redis with a state, whether or not it had minted, whether or not it's been seen before. And we would also, at that time, assign you a number, like a number in the 10,000 in index. And we basically were relying entirely on Redis's INCR function, the increase function. It's a guaranteed atomic increment. You know that if you call it, you're going to get the next one in the list, and no one else will get that. Redis is awesome for that. And so it was kind of like a writable account in Solana, in that if you put a writable account in your action, every command that's using that is going to be using it serially, and you just don't know what order you're going to get it run in, but you know it'll be run, in some unique way. So that's what we did, and then we obviously stored the DAA key that signed all these things, these apes, on their online storage solution, and so we would just mint these things and sign them on the fly and send them down to people. And this is very similar to how Candy Machine works. We even stored a CSV essentially on the cloud storage that had the URLs, the names, the images, everything, which is what you do today when you make a candy machine. This was the very first version, and people were actually asking me for it after we built it, but I was too afraid to give it to them because it was so hacky. But we sold out in 8 seconds, and at one point we had 1,000 Google Cloud instances running, which was insane. So whenever you're wondering, well, how much does Solana really scale? And the answer is it scales a lot, because it took 1,000 of these things to actually handle the stress, and Solana just handles it every day. So pretty impressive. So the moral of the story here, and the reason I bring it up, is that even decentralized networks need heroes, right? You need to have people that deeply care and know where to deploy resources strategically, because it's not about the battles you win, it's about choosing which battles you lose. And the hero of this story is actually Raj, because he had really no reason to save these guys. They're just an NFT drop, but he realized that people were in doubt about whether or not Solana could be a viable NFT chain. But after that day, they were never in doubt again. And so I think he made the absolute right decision, and I think it changed the future of Solana. So I think that's important going forward to think about. You have a decentralized network, but you should still have people that make important decisions at the right time, because we just do not have enough resources to be everywhere. So next story up, Salamas. Some of you might know these guys. 24 hours after we saved the apes, these guys get wise and they think, oh, animals are doing all right. Let's drop some more animals. And they, to their credit, they managed to actually drop 10,000 llamas, but they only dropped them to 24% of the people that bought them. So it was hilarious, because in the Discord, these people, there was suddenly, we had created Ayn Rand's nightmare. You had all these haves and all these have-nots. And so 25% of the people were just saying, you know what, you just buy them on the secondary. This was a fair mint. It's totally fine. And they had 4 times the llamas, and they were all legendary, and it was great. They were loving it. The other 75% were losing their minds. It was great. So we were called in to deal with this. And I hadn't really slept yet, neither had Bartosz, and we were a little angrier than we were before. And I hadn't mentioned this earlier, but the degen apes, I told them at the time, I was like, these 800, you need to murder them. You need to get rid of those NFTs. If you don't, it will create a force stronger than you can ever imagine. More on that later. They didn't want to do it, but the llamas had to do it, because there weren't 800 llamas. There were literally 10,000 llamas that the 25% who held refused to give up. The good news is we still had update authority on those llamas. So I convinced the team to build me this gravestone, which you see here. And it was amazing. Now, I had the option, Bartosz and I, we really had the option to just roll this out all at once and just update everyone's NFTs, but we felt that those people that had all those NFTs who weren't even willing to share, I felt like they deserved a lesson. So what we did was we actually built a slow loop. We built a little script that would slowly convert the NFTs over 3 or 4 hours. Not fast, slowly. And then we instructed the devs of Solana, like, don't say a word. Just go dark. We're going to make this look like a rug. And so, like, at first, there was like 1 or 2 people in the Discord chat, and they were like, you know, what happened to my llama? Is something broken? And everyone else screamed them down. They were like, it's FUD. It's FUD. This is impossible. NFTs are immutable, even though immutability is not part of the word non-fungible token. I guess people don't know what fungible means. And so, like, at 10%, people started using NFTIs. That was like the first time you started seeing it pop up. And they were like, oh my God, something's happening to my llamas. And other people started getting scared. Like, it was like psychology, right? By 30%, we actually had the Protestant Reformation happen. You know, there was a flowering of religions as people tried to figure out, like, what is the reason that some llamas are dying and some aren't? And some of them thought, well, like, hey, if we move it to a ledger, they can't get us. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Yeah, and some others thought, you know, like maybe it's just the llamas we weren't supposed to fairly get. Maybe if we just keep the fair llamas, it'll be fine. And then people hadn't realized this yet, but with every 25th llama, we dropped this shotgun shell, and you can't see the guy, Tuco, but that was Bartosz's brilliant idea. We dropped this. It was this character from this movie, Tuco, the good, the bad, the ugly. He's this ugly barbarian, and he has this saying in the movie. He says, when you have to shoot, shoot, don't talk. And we put that into the description of this Tuco, and we gave it to 1 out of every 25 people. So it took a while for them to realize. About 50% of the way in, someone realized that these Tucos were showing up in their wallet sometimes. And yeah, a death cult formed. There was a group of people that worshipped the Tuco during this few hours period, and they believed, accidentally correctly, that if you grouped the llamas in single wallets, they would die faster, and it was their mission to do that to speed up the second coming of the llamas. I'm not even kidding. It was amazing. Yeah, and so by 80%, people realized everyone's going to die, just embrace it, and by 100%, they were the most livid group of people on the planet. It was great. I call it performance art. They maybe don't. Certainly the 75% that had nothing thought it was hilarious. So it was great. So next up, I want to talk about Aurori. So at the point that we did Aurori, we've moved ahead a few weeks, and Solana Labs was like, you know, came to us like, hey, Jordan, Bartosz, you've done great on this Metaplex thing. Let's start working on some other things. And so we started doing that. But you guys kept on screwing up your mints. We had this idea that if we just build the protocol, eventually someone would build, you know, essentially a candy machine, but it just wasn't happening, and people kept getting rugged, and there wasn't really a unified way to do it. And so, you know, a few weeks later, Bartosz and I decided to take an unsolicited vacation. We went on vacation for 1 week and built the candy machine from scratch. We did not think it was going to get this big, but, you know, apparently it's useful. Anyway, Aurori was the first team to use it. They agreed to use it because they were launching at the end of that week, and they could not figure out how to handle it because they knew they were going to be the largest launch since to generate apes. At one point in time, there were 300,000 simultaneous requests to mint on that, and they sort of knew it was coming because their art's so original and they're really cool guys. And so it was just sort of serendipitous that we were working on this when they needed it, and we got in touch with them and we were like, hey guys, I was like, guys, I got this contract completely unaudited. I wrote it 4 days ago. It was really late. I think it'll go okay. They did say yes. It went really well for a lot of people. A lot of people got 1 sol mints very fast, guaranteed no duplicates. It was a fantastic experience for most people. Unfortunately, I was off by 4 in the price. The JavaScript client had a little bit of a bug in it. Yeah, that was a fun feeling. But yeah, they were the first, and they unleashed a wave of NFTs that has just washed over us, and that was because of Rory being willing to try the candy machine. And after that, the rest is history. So now we are facing a bot scourge. Candy machines are everywhere, everyone's using them, but the bots are also using them. And so we get to this where we're sort of currently are, which is the fair launch. The first real fair launch was Lit Jesus. And for those of you who don't know, fair launch is essentially a bidding system where in phase 1, everyone bids the price they think they're gonna, they should pay. In phase 2, you lock in that price. The median of all the bids becomes the price, and people can stay in or back out. It's actually, I was inspired to build it after using Mango, because they have a very similar system, and I thought it was really cool. And then at the end of the phase 2, if there's more people that have bids at or above the median, you have a lottery, and it's currently off chain because VRFs are hard. So I designed this to sort of lessen the impact of bots, because with this you can have a non-refundable fee, which can turn your lottery into a negative EV event for bots if they don't truly believe in your brand. And also, if you spam as a bot, 500 bids or whatever, you're guaranteed to lose most of them, right? The idea is the more you spam, the less you get, and all the bots now are in this horrible situation where they have to sort of collude with one another to spread out the bids so that they have a smaller percentage and have a better chance of winning, and that is done through the fees. It's unfortunate, people don't like fees, but what has been done with fair launch is you just give them all away to charity. So I think if you can afford to pay $600 for a picture of a shark, you can afford to pay $30 to a charity. That's just me personally speaking. And so, yeah, I think it's been okay. The future of the fair launch protocol, by the way, is we've had some issues with people sort of getting information too early. Like they come to this site in phase 1 and they can kind of see what the median bid is already, and I feel like that biases them towards the median. And so some of the things we're going to do is we're probably going to switch the slider to an input so that you don't really have information on what the upper and lower bounds are. And we're going to add CAPTCHA support, pre-sale support, and we're going to hide median information. So pre-sale has been a #1 thing people have asked for. They really want to be able to just purchase a whitelisted token for certain people at a fixed price, and we don't really support that right now. CAPTCHA is an obvious one. Yeah, I think overall it'll make it a lot better of an experience. Because one of the things that has been alarming or surprising to me is that NFT companies don't want to use price discovery. We give them this ability to do price discovery, but they don't want to do it because they think that if they have a narrow range, they won't be seen as greedy, and if they have a wide range, they'll be seen as greedy. But what actually happens is that when they have a narrow range, their median immediately maxes out because the market really knows that the floor price of these NFTs is significantly higher. So there's still an arbitrage opportunity at the top of the median. And what it looks like then is like you gave 2 prices to people, 3 SOL and 4 SOL, and you got 4 SOL. You look greedy. The real way to make this work is you capture the entire bell curve. A wide enough range gives you a bunch of buckets that give you a bell curve, and you will have a median that is not at the edge, and you will not look greedy. People just have to get over this fact that they see 10 SOL on one side and 0.1 on the other, and I think the input's going to help that. All right, now we're going to move on to new stuff. So a contributor recently merged this. We now have multi-SPL support in the original Metaplex repository. So if you're using Metaplex to run your store, you can now run them with literally any token you want out of the box, which is just amazing, and it already exists, and I highly recommend you pull it and try it. I'm really looking for some Cope websites coming up soon. The next thing is Auction House. I think this is sort of an underground big deal. This is a contract that was built really for secondary markets. So I don't think there's going to be many users of it. There'll probably be 10 to 15, but I think they'll make up a large portion of the market. Auction House lets you have no more escrows for your NFTs. So you're not sending your NFTs to some wallet. You're not giving the NFT to a secondary and just hoping that they don't have a glitch and rug you. You keep it in your wallet at all times. You're eligible for all airdrops. And it's done through this brilliant idea that Anatoly had, which is just set the delegate to have encoded information about the price and the other parts of the sale. And the other cool thing is that as a bidder, you can make an offer on an NFT that isn't even for sale. This contract also enforces royalties at the contract level, so no more doing it via JavaScript after the fact, on top of your weird contract. And it allows auction houses to collect a cut on top. And I predict that as auction houses pop up, people will build sort of like a kayak for auction houses where you can try to place your NFT for sale on multiple auction houses and see which one manages to produce the lead that gives you this sale. So it's an exciting place. The next thing I want to talk about is Gumdrop. And this is actually a live demo. So Gumdrop is a Merkle airdrop. We forked it from Sabre Labs. They built this amazing Merkle airdrop solution that works off of a Merkle root. So you actually have to have a minting website that has all the information on it. And then the Merkle root's the only thing that's stored on chain, and you just build the proof when you land. But unlike their solution, we have sort of added to it. You can now use SMS, email, and wallets. You can distribute a participation NFT to people via these three mediums. You can distribute candy machine access to these people. So each of the invites produces a candy machine mint. And finally, you can obviously do normal SPL tokens because we forked it from Sabre and they did an amazing job. So I want to show you how to get an NFT with it, and I'm going to see if I can escape here. And let's see, I need to move my mouse. Here we go. So I have this email from Santa, and I've received one limited edition print, and I'm going to click to claim it. And so this is a mixture of on-chain contracts and off-chain, AWS, SNS, all the good stuff. So as you can see here, it sort of fills out a form with all of your information. It's constructing the proof. There you go. And then you hit claim airdrop. And by the way, anyone who filled out the bit.ly form that I had posted on the whiteboard in the Hacker House also will be getting an email just like this. And they will also get this, the ability to claim this special NFT, which I will now show you. This is my public wallet here. I think, yep. You guys get a brief shot of my active NFT collection. There's the Budge Loot. Some of you might have one of these. There's a diamond skateboard. I became a whale on these. I really liked them. Let's see, where are you? I have so many things in here. Sorry, the internet's not great here, but just bear with me. I also have some llama graves. I'm sentimental like that. A lot of llama graves, actually. Come on, where are you? Well, there's that guy. I wish Phantom did not load, so here it is, Gumdrop. So this is the Hacker House Gumdrop NFT. Anyone that filled out that form will get an email. They will be able to use this live. This was done on mainnet. That's why it took a little while to load Phantom, because demos never go the way you expect. But if you were in the Hacker House yesterday and you filled out this bit.ly form, you get a special POAP for showing up. And it was done entirely via email, which I think is kind of a new application, right? And soon we're going to have SMS as well, because with the new Phantom mobile app, Slope, and Soulflare, I think the mobile game is just beginning. So I highly recommend you to check that code out. It was extended from Sabre's original implementation by Larry Wu, a very talented engineer that works for us at Solana Labs. And yeah, I'm a big fan of him personally. Now I need to switch back to the slide presentation. Come on. 1 second. OK. I'm not sure how to actually start this again, because I cannot see. There we go. All right, so that's Gumdrop. Moving on to the future, and we're closing up here. So one of the next things that's going to be built by Austin Adams, who's a really talented engineer at Metaplex, is this fan-out wallet concept. So a lot of people have complained to me about there only being 5 creators on Metaplex, so you can only have up to 5 royalty recipients. People also want to distribute funds from drops. So Candy Machine and FLP, you're kind of stuck with a single wallet for the initial drop proceeds. People want a nice, easy way to just distribute funds and not have to worry about the number of people. And the way we're going to do that is through the fan-out wallet. The fan-out wallet is a contract that allows you to create an owned wallet and then distribute token ownership of that wallet. So you could make 100 tokens and give them to people. And then each of those people earn a share of that wallet's proceeds. So if I have 17 tokens out of 100, I get 17%. And there will be fun rules around like who has authority to mint the tokens. You can configure that. It could be by a quorum. It could be by a supermajority of token holders or just the authority on the wallet. But the point is, you get one wallet. You stick it in a treasury on a Candy Machine, or you stick it in the royalties array of the metadata. And that one wallet can have, you could have 1 billion tokens underneath of it. And it's sort of like a corporation. It receives revenue from sales, and then it distributes proceeds to shareholders. And it can be done entirely permissionlessly via a crank, because it's using associated token accounts. So it's a very exciting thing. I think it has applications far beyond just NFTs, but Metaplex is building it because it is a use case we need to solve. The next thing that I want to talk about is the token Entangler. So those 800 apes that I mentioned that got minted, well, they lived, and I made friends with them. They're very cool. I apologize for trying to kill them earlier. And we brokered a piece. They're no longer part of the degenerate ape universe, but they have the opportunity now to fix their NFTs. The problem is, even though they can produce this wonderful variant art, they can't actually update a lot of their NFTs because they don't have the right update authority. They were botched, right? And there are a lot of NFT groups like this, the beautiful communities that came into existence and the creators rugged, or some bad tech thing happened, and they just, they're sort of like lost, right? Like, what do? You can't burn the original token and give them a new one. No one wants to go for that. So what we've built is the token Entangler, and this exists today. It's on mainnet. And what it allows you to do is to entangle two tokens together. So you can take an entire collection as a DAO, right? And you can create, let's say with the apes, which is what they're going to do, 717 entanglements. And you entangle all the original ape tokens with these beautiful new ones that have new royalties, a new update authority, and a new image. And then people can take the old token, and if they want to, they can exchange it for the new one. And at any point in time, they can see in their Phantom wallet that this token is an entangled token with another token. And they can get it back at any point in time. So it really has the same value as the original token plus more, because you can get the original token back whenever you want, but now it's got new metadata, and you're supporting the DAO that took over, presumably your community, from something bad happening. You can also entangle one token with many other tokens. So if you're looking to do costumes or Halloween outfits for your NFTs, you don't have to use update metadata anymore to make it happen, which is kind of terrifying to do. You can just make like a spooky ghost costume entangled with every single mint, and then flip them, and then also have one for a jack-o'-lantern or whatever. So I think there's a lot of possibilities with this, and it's a very simple program to use. The next thing I want to talk about, NFT packs. For those of you that were keeping track of Street Dreams, they are the first NFT outfit to use our NFT packs contract. And what this allows is booster cards, essentially. So if anyone was like me and collected Pokemon cards as a kid, this is that on chain. And it can be randomized or preset. It enables truly collecting. Because right now when you collect, you're very targeted. Oh, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to speed through this. But it allows true collections, and it allows exchanges for N for M NFTs. So you can actually take 3 NFTs. Instead of a single pack NFT, you could have 3 NFTs that you put together to create another NFT. So it's not just for booster packs, it's for transformation from one set of NFTs to another, which enables a lot of cool game mechanics. Finally, well, I don't think finally, I think this is like second to last slide, collections. I'm so sorry we didn't do it when we were first doing this. We are going to add them. It's going to be great. They're going to be in the standard, and you'll be able to, if you're an NFT owner, to subscribe to a given collection, and then the secondaries will be able to use this as opposed to the creators array as a pivot point for collections. As for what's next, gaming, probably going to be working on something in gaming. Anyway, thank you for listening to my rambling. I hope I didn't go over too much. Yeah.
Jordan, that was awesome. Love that. Yeah. I need to get one of the sloths with the bishop hat. I love those. So I will be looking forward to those. Thanks so much. Yeah.